day number 2 of All Hallows Week, where I will be giving you your daily dose of spookiness to some degree. Today we are going to be going over gym etiquette. So don't be giving your fellow gym goers any tricks at the gym this year. Instead, give them a couple of treats with these tips. Let's get into it. Firstly, wipe down your machines. This isn't just in context with the whole COVID-19 thing. This is something you should have been doing the entire time. Trust me, no one wants to go onto a piece of equipment that has all of your sweat on it. That's gross. Not just unsanitary, but it's nasty. Don't do it! So most gyms will have wipes or paper towels with some sanitizing agent that you can go over to and wipe your machine down. Make sure you are wiping any part that your body touched. This is including the handles, because I know when I go up to a machine and I see sweat on it, give me a minute. I gotta go clean this. Apparently I have to clean up after you. Speaking of cleaning up after other people, tip number 2, re-rack your weights. It is not my job, nor the staff's job, to clean up after you. I remember when I worked at my school's gym. When I was first there, I was part of the operations crew. Basically meaning I was cleaning and maintaining the equipment and the space. And I so vividly remember anytime that I was closing, just the amount of people who did not know how to re-rack their weights. I'd have 5-pound dumbbells where the 20-pound dumbbells were supposed to be. I'd have all the machines with the plates still loaded on them. I remember we had an individual weightlifting room outside of the main gym space, which was mostly used for the athletes, but when the athletes weren't using it, it was open to everyone else. And someone had turned one of the squat racks in there into a bench press. Now, I had just gone in there, re-racked, there were 4 squat racks, and I went, re-racked all of them, went and re-racked the dumbbells, because that was the worst place in the weight room for dumbbells to be in the wrong spot for whatever. And so the person on that, when he converted it, saw me cleaning it all up. And he was still working, so I went to go finish something else. I go back into the room. He's gone. The setup is still for a bench press. He had one of the benches thrown in there. He had the safety bars pulled off. The weights were still on there. And I'm like, dude! So that's, from a staff perspective, it is super annoying. From a patron point of view, I'm not here to clean up after you either. I'm here to lift my weight, but now I have to take all of your weights off so I can get my weight on. It's wasting my time in the gym, and it's not my job. Clean up after yourself. That's simple. If you put the weight on, you can take it off. Tip number 3. It kind of goes into re-racking your weights, but don't leave gym equipment all over the floor. Just like you want to clean up if you're on a machine, you want to put the weights back, you want to make sure you're putting the dumbbells where you got them from. If you take something from an area, put it back. There's so many times where people will take dumbbells from the dumbbell rack and walk it all the way over to the personal training square or to the other side of the gym where the racquetball courts are, and then leave them there. And so I'm trying to look for that dumbbell. They're gone. Where is it? Maybe someone's using it. No, it's just sitting on the floor all the way in butt fuck nowhere. I've seen it with the barbells, the dumbbells, the medicine balls, the Bosu balls, any piece of equipment that can travel. But sometimes they'll have the long bar that you usually use for a lat pull down. They'll have it over by the cable rows, and then they don't bring it back. My gym, for whatever reason right now, is lacking barbells. Not preloaded barbells, just the regular barbells for squatting and bench pressing. So I think 3 or 4 of the stationary machines just don't have a barbell to them. I don't know what happened. I asked one of the trainers. He didn't know what happened to them either, so. But when I need to go squat and a barbell's missing, I take one from the bench press, but then I bring it back. I don't just, obviously that squat rack needs one, but I bring it back because that's where I got it from, and vice versa. If I take it from the squat rack and I use it over to do hip thrusts on the bench, I bring it back. I'm not trying to make it difficult for anyone else. I'm not trying to have anyone clean up after me, and I'm not trying to make someone play hide and seek with gym equipment for when it's time for them to work out. That's just wasting everyone's time, and I'm just trying to be as respectful as possible, and everyone should try to be as respectful as possible. Tip number 4, when you are supersetting or trisetting, anything involving using more than one piece of equipment, make sure that you have something of yours that you can leave at each machine. Usually I'll have my water bottle and my phone. Those are things I will always have with me, either if I'm training by myself or I'm training with a trainer. I will leave my phone on one piece of equipment and my water bottle on another piece of equipment, just so anyone, if I'm at the other machine, someone who goes to the machine I'm not at can clearly see someone is there. You know, I've had that happen where I was with my sister. So she was on one, I was on the other. So we happened to be resting at the same time. She had left that machine. It was a stationary, like, lower back extension. She left there to come talk for the rest period, and I had stuff at that machine. We had gone through 2 or 3 rounds on this machine. On the 4th round, right when we finished our rest and she went over to go use it, some other 2 girls were there, and she didn't want to say anything, so I was like, excuse me, ladies. Obviously, could tell I was about to say we were using that, and that, mind you, there is the same machine right next to it that does not have our stuff on it. And the girls were like, oh, we've been here. And I'm looking at her like, we've literally done 3 rounds of this, and I have not seen you on that machine once. You're gonna try and tell me that you've been there? And one of the trainers comes in and is like, oh no, yeah, I saw them there. I'm just, do I believe him? No. Because like I said, we had been there for 3 rounds. They did not have any of their stuff there, and I did not see them use it in the time when we were resting, and our stuff was clearly there. So that just, you know, I wasn't gonna fight them or anything like that, so we just went to the machine right next to it, that was literally right next to it, that no one else was on. They didn't have anything there. So regardless if they had been there or not, they didn't leave anything there. So how is anyone supposed to know it's being used? So definitely, if you are planning on supersetting or trisetting, make sure you bring something to claim that piece of equipment, just as a courtesy to others, so you're not coming up sounding kind of rude when like, hey, I was on that machine, and the person's like, what? Tip number 5, try not to be loud. Now, I know there have been a few times where I've just needed to, like, the last rep, I've just really needed to, like, push myself, and not on purpose, I'll make a loud grunting noise or something like that. But there are some people that are doing it on like every single rep, or people who are unnecessarily slamming weights on the ground. There's a time and a place for it. I remember something that my manager said when I did work at the gym. One of the other employees was a power lifter, and he was the strongest person on our staff. He was probably one of the strongest people that came to work out at that gym. And he was like, if he doesn't need to make noise lifting, what's y'all's excuse? And sometimes, you know, you might drop something, it might be too heavy on that last rep, you might, you know, need to make some noise a little, but any unnecessary noise, again, it's all about being respectful, not disturbing other people that are there to be there for whatever reason, to concentrate, to relax. People have a million different reasons for wanting to go to the gym. Don't be a nuisance, but don't be like on your phone, speaking super loud. That's something I have to be conscientious of when I'm there talking with someone. I have a very loud voice that does project very easily if I'm not being aware of it. So that's just something that I need to be careful of so I'm not disrupting anybody. But if I'm able to put down a weight gently, I put it down gently. If I'm slamming a weight down and dropping it, it's because I physically can't hold it up anymore. So just be more conscientious of the noise level that you're making, because not everyone has headphones, and even sometimes when I have headphones in, I hear things crashing and I get scared. I'm like, oh my god, what happened? Who's hurt? And rule number 6, speaking of being too loud on the phone, don't hog a machine while you're on the phone. If you are on the phone, if you need to take a phone call, get off the machine or let someone else use it. I've definitely had people call me at the gym, and sometimes I'm like, hey, I'm at the gym, or I don't answer, but then other times it's like, oh, this is kind of important, I need to answer it, and I will either let someone go on the machine, let them know, hey, I'm still here, I still need to use it, but obviously work in with me, or take over while I'm not able to, or I do walk away, I go outside or I go into the locker room. And there have been a few times I haven't, and I'm spaced, I'm not thinking, but obviously make an effort to, if you are not using the equipment, whether you're on the phone with someone or speaking with someone at the gym, make sure you're not hogging the machine for an extended period of time where you're potentially interfering with someone else's workout. Tip number 7, be mindful of the personal trainers and the personal training spaces. I have heard so many stories from the trainers at my gym of patrons being super disrespectful to them while they're trying to train a client. There are other times it's like, hey, can we work in with you? Or they may be supersetting and they didn't leave something at the other machine, or they did and the other person just ignored it. And if it's another patron, I mean, granted, just don't be rude to anybody, but especially not the trainers, because this is their job, this is their office, you know. And I've personally seen that too, where it's like, hey, we were here, we had like the water bottles here, and he's like, so? It's like, this person is paying how much money for this person to train them, and you are now interfering with that. That's not cool. And I've also heard a lot of stories of people in the personal training square, the square that is solely supposed to be for trainers and their clients. If you are not training, you technically should not be in there. But if I try to be respectful when I go in there. I am super respectful, actually. Whenever I go and use that space, if a trainer is in there, I always ask them, hey, are you using this equipment? And if they are, or hey, can I come in? If not, I leave. I go find something else to do, you know. But I've heard so many people say that these people will come in, be super rude, will not get off the equipment, will try to take equipment that we're using or going to be using, and don't do that. That is their job. That is their office. You would not want someone to come in to your office or your place of employment and do something similar to that. So please be respectful of their workplace. And tip number 8, if you are working in a group, make sure you are not taking the same machine for both of you. Share. There are multiple lat pull down machines. If you're doing lat pull downs, you're only taking one machine, because as one person's going, the other could be resting. You know, you don't need to both be lifting and both resting at the same time. You are taking that equipment away from someone else, and it's definitely not an efficient use of your time. The best way, I would say, if you do have a group, obviously do supersets, because you now have a person claiming that machine instead of an object. But if you are not supersetting, just stick to one piece of equipment, because especially at night after work, the gym gets really busy. That's one of the most popular times for people to go is after work. So 5, 6 o'clock, super crowded, super popular. It was my leg day, and this was something that recently happened. All of the benches were taken, and I wanted to do hip thrusts. So when I can't get a bench, my alternative is to go to the leg extension machine and use that as a hip thrust. There's only 3. One person was at one, and there were 2 girls at the other 2. They were working out together, so they would use the equipment together and then rest together. And I'm like, you literally could be alternating, one working, one resting, and that would have opened the second one up for me. Now I can't do what I need to do, so it's either I wait and rest, which when you rest, you know, you lose your pump, and you know, you kind of lose that momentum that you're doing with. But now you're also wasting my time. I have to be here longer waiting on you. Which is basically the overall theme of this. Just be respectful of other people's time and space. So those are some gym etiquette tips for you, just in case you weren't aware. If you've done a couple of them, you know what? It happens. Learn from your mistakes and just try to be a more respectful person. That's all you can do. That's all I can ask you to do. That's all I can hope for. And I hope that these tips will help you in your future gym interactions. But if you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye!